for themselves. They get 40 points here at the new P4, 110 now and counting. They're starting to get a little bit of momentum behind them in terms of the objective, but a late break from Magpies, and every second that they get off of this hill is a second closer to victory. Yeah, just moments away. Kaz up top. Beautiful shots there. 32 and 17. Ready to put the final nails in the coffin for this red card. Hardpoint reads the flank from Danny. All eyes forward for Mission Magpies as the rest of them are funneling on through the small choke point. Nobody's grabbing hill time. So at least Team Pulsar doing enough to keep this hill gray. But how long can they hold on truly? What a flank. And Overlay just in a fantastic spot to cut off any help that is going to arrive from the outside of this P1 hill. 3 seconds left. A chance here for Icarus to contest. Kaz puts him down. And the last second will go through. So a major victory here on the red card for Mission Magpies. Spreading their wings. Flying into the series. 250 to 120. And even towards the end there, I'm just impressed in the way that they approached that P1 hill. Overlay in general, just the heads up play to push all the way out to that stage, get an off angle towards those planters. You take that forward pressure up, it further solidifies your setup outside. And at that moment, I knew that it was all said and done. What's going on with this guy? Yeah, I definitely think that, in due time, we will see these players from Team Pulsar grow into, contenders such as these Mission Magpie players. But I think it just kind of solidifies what I've been saying is that, for a player like Lampy, who, through MW2, was struggling to qualify for those elites, struggled to make the last chance qualifier going into Challengers Champs, then into MW3, you finally had that like hope that chance to secure your spot into elite alongside Overlay. You make it in towards stage 3. you get into the playoffs as well. They've been slowly growing. And then, last couple of times we've seen them even go over towards land. You go to Dallas for P7 Esports alongside Disarray and BB Connor. And that team was turning heads, looking solid against some pretty notable North American squads. And albeit a top 24 placing is not really like the placing that you hope to walk away from a LAN, especially when you've been making elites. But it is definitely one that looks to impress for this squad. So as much as I'm going to sit here and say that like this Team Pulsar squad has a lot of growing to do, on the other foot, Mission Magpies, this squad had some pretty big shoes to fill with this Mission Magpies organization who is literally in the grand final in Dallas. And they're doing a good job at showing they deserve to be here. Look at that fight from Kaz too. Yeah, he did it back in the red card a couple times where it's like it's no fear. You just fly at them, essentially an ego chow. But he just shows that with it, the confidence is behind him to play at his best right now. Put away at that third seed with a win for your group, and keep denying Team Pulsar a way back into this series. So off the break off, Mission Magpies do what they need to do over towards Bede on their attacking ends now. Trying to see if they can pull something of their own over towards A. It's this. I mean, this is the moment that's going to solidify this whole round. How fast Overlay is to get in behind. There's no way you're going to read it. No information that he's here. And Quick's just reading shadows right now. He is chasing nothing. You're going to find that kill, but you got 20 seconds for 1 versus 2, and the rest just assert themselves into a situation to put that round away. And Mission Magpies continue to impress throughout this series. It all starts with Pac down in Secret, Enigma. And the way that you take that contact against Icarus bottom Secret and you don't challenge out. Instead, you just drew first blood over towards A, and Icarus is a sitting duck in that spot. And then you have your player over towards A hit through you and basically shoot him in the back. And it's just playing your life to a T. Nobody watching closed. And now you're getting hit from 4 different angles. Lambo's going to be held down. Can you win this fight? No, Lampy just removes you from the corner. Shots with the Jackal, making it look like an assault rifle. And he is 3 in a row. Rest are going to drop Lampy, the shining light in that round. 3-0 up, back to back to back.
Okay, I think I may have just found out why we were having audio issues. So the sound, the file that I imported for some reason took my audio for my mic and my system and removed them off of the primary track. I have literally never seen this screen before, so I have never messed with this. I don't, all right, well, we'll jump back in. Okay. You learn something new every day, Seymour. You know what? Just like this Team Pulsar squad should be doing right now.
You're telling me that these guys heard me talking to myself.
Just you this whole time, brother. I've been clicking buttons and doing all sorts of things in the back the whole time.
Yeah, I swear to God, guys, I am not crazy. He was talking to me. He was having a conversation with me.
What I will say, map 1, Team Pulsar stayed in it relatively early and then disappeared through the middle of the map. Mission Magpies running them over. Here, Mission Magpies settled into a 3-0 lead. But Team Pulsar do draw one back on the board, and that felt like an important one. It felt like one of those stop a little bit of momentum, stem the bleeding, and try and give yourself something to build from. And Team Pulsar, with that aggressive hit, somehow coming out on top.
Blood this time, overlay. That's all the way over towards A. What you don't have is any control to mid, so essentially Mission Magpies, they can hit a flank fast if they want to. Instead, they're going to cut early. A little bit of an audible here from Pak to see if he can get that bomb down. You do. Now with bomb control, Pak turns it into a double kill. And look at roll 3, not able to get it done, but your teammate is right there to trade you out in the 1v3. Mission Magpies go up 4-1.
One of those disappointing moments, I feel, when everything that Pulsar are managing to get, they're having to work so hard for. And, well, I can't say the same of Mission Magpies. They are walking several of these rounds right now. It's all about, again, what Pulsar can learn from this. We know that they won't be making it through from groups, so it's about improving as you go. And again, can you make adjustments? Can you change things up? Can you keep Mission Magpies guessing as to where you're going to be next? Well, Kez has loved this mid-chow so far. We're going to see him slide out for it again. Nothing on the other end, but that is given up B instantly. You will see this. For me, I want to see someone wrap. And look at number 4, Danny. Hit P2 Lambo as your teammates hit the other side.
Look at this. It's kind of like Lampy is doing the exact same thing, just a little bit faster. Danny's still going to strike, so numbers starting to dwindle. 4v3, Lampy going to equalize, not able to give you the edge. But Pak's going to do just that. An overlay, catching Sierra, laying prone in the ground. Everything falls apart from the inside out. You climb out of the trenches.
All too easy for Mission Magpies. The fact that you end up with a player getting round the back of office there so easily just means that, you know, you end up with that quick outside hit there coming in through for Mission Magpies. And Team Pulsar, the best way to counter that, you set up a pinch, essentially. You have player approach from mid, player getting around the back of Lambo, player hold from office side, and you just try and put Mission Magpies under pressure. That is all completely undone the second you end up with a player flanking your office side and splitting your entire defensive setup apart. Team Pulsar 1 round away from a very sore map 2.
Bomb heading over towards B fast. A little bit of a offside hold from Kaz, so he's going to just back right up, play his life, and allow for the rest of the team to get here to assist. Lampy, though, not expecting the aggression from Icarus, and Kaz is going to lose the battle at range. 4 versus 2. Team Pulsar not done yet.
It's whether or not you can deal with this hit from the front. It's a bait, it's a switch, and yes, they do a great job of finishing off Pack. Overlay will slide for 1. Feels like a little bit of a ego child. If anything, just finish this round off, gentlemen. Send us on to the next one. The Team Pulsar, great job there. Managed to come out with the first bloods. Bomb down. Apply pressure back to your opponents who have done so much of that to you. I feel like one of the things as well, if you're looking at the individual players across this Team Pulsar lineup, it's kind of a couple of them auditioning, saying we deserve to be in a team that can stay within the elite, not just fall out in group stages. So a couple of individuals still fighting very much so for their futures, for their lives. Mission Magpies looking to end this one here, and it looks like it's going to be yet another B hit, Seymour.
Back it is quick. Little crossfire there with Icarus. Unfortunately, Pak and Kez twice full. They answer back. I like this route from Danny. Quickly need to be on the flank. No, knife out. Still walks away with the kill. Lets him know he should not have got that. But a 2v2 grouped up together. See if Team Pulsar can get this one going.
It's a brave slide out. And yeah, this is a double wrap back from Pak and Overlay. Pack finds one. Damage into the second. And, well, Danny, all by yourself. For a little info on the second player. You know at least one. But you're worried about getting hit from somewhere else. And they're just toying with their food. Yeah, that was just always going to go one way, unfortunately. So Mission Magpies then. Coming out on top. It was 250 to around 120 in the first game. It felt like, if anything, a contested game early. And then very much so blown apart. This one, I don't feel like it was ever really close. We went to a 3-0 lead for Mission Magpies. And taking a quick look at some of the individuals there. Pack 9 and 4, probably your standout individual performer. What I will say on the opposite side of things for Team Pulsar. Honestly, the damage majoritively is there, but I think that when you start talking about where, you know, several of these players are falling short, it felt like if you lose first bloods against a team that is typically able to overpower you, that's a difficult situation to put you in. First blood losses on Hacienda, especially on defense, make the map very big, and that felt like a situation where they were often coming out second best, and also, quite frankly, not doing a good enough job again with holds. I go back to, I guess, one of the rounds that we had there, Seymour, where they're trying to set up that pinch and you end up with, I think it was Overlay who gets in around the back of Office. It's just a case of, well, you've basically given up your entire setup, and too easy, too often. The right ideas, we can see lights are on, but right now it's just not coming through. The execution isn't there.
Yeah, it's that on top of a little bit of a difference in tempo that we're getting as well. From the Mission Magpies. I mean, you can just see how fast they are to adjust in situations, especially towards that last round. As soon as you lose that battle in towards top open and you're stuck in a 2 versus 2, they don't just sit there on site and wait for the challenge through key door. They take it into their own hands to re-wrap through mid, hop up open, and essentially kind of flip around into a post plant outside where that bomb is planted. So tempo a little bit quicker here for the Mission Magpies spot, and that is okay. That is what you expect in a player like Lampy this year. He has just been a menace in terms of speed.
Menace indeed. Mission Magpies being backed up. They needed that kill. You want to make sure that you are bullying this team back as far as you can. Danny caught between a lot of different bullets, a lot of different places. The one thing I will say right now, Mission Magpies, they're not having it all their own way. We are going to be even on live, so Team Pulsar trying to answer back here. We bounce very quickly from one map to the other. Team Pulsar have not allowed that to stop them coming out with their chests up, their heads held high. Danny gets one. Ciara looking for another. That's 2 in the feed, and you start to make progress in A. So much more from what we want to see from this young squad.
That's the big thing. Now you can safely hop this zone, stack it even, let that progress grow. So Ciara flanking around. The timing's going to pay off, and nobody's going to be ready for this. Lampy's going to be shot from the front. Ciara picks Overlay up and behind, double kill as well. You saw the player wrapping through B. Pac's going to give himself away, but is it going to be enough to hold on to A? It won't be. So zone's going to be secured. A minute 40 on the clock here, and a 4-life lead for Team Pulsar.
Opportunity to really upset here. Offensive rounds not easy here on Vault. They are attainable though, especially when you then remove your opponent top or and then you turn and spin on another. Pack deleted. Progress coming through, stacking the point. 1 ticks in, and you have P4 control as well for Danny.
This is a perfect spot, although Magpie is going to be spawning close towards this B zone. Can he get here in time? Danny just peppering shots from a distance. Not going to be enough to secure it. Lampy makes the play. He flanks. That third segment's going to get neutralized.
Great work, though, from Team Pulsar earlier on. They'll still be up by 4 lives as well. So you can play TDM. But you want to be playing it together and not in moments like that where it's single gunfights, easy pickups for Mission Magpies. You still have 60 seconds if you are Team Pulsars. You got to figure out a push, and you're walking into gunfights that you're not ready for.
Yeah. Even still, though, you're going to be able to spawn close. So an extra layer of defense will be set up. It's just finding the skills to back that up. Pac in the lead. He stays alive. Backs down. And Lampy going to trade it. Danny not able to read the pressure through mid. But the rest of the team stepping up in a major way. Now the life lead cut down to just 1. And you have 30 seconds to put this away.
Nole holding water here is going to be a nuisance, and he does enough. Pax also picked up a flank through mid. That route will just mean that you alleviate that pressure. And Team Pulsar, you have 4 lives. You're playing S&D. You got 20 seconds. You just gotta fly.
Things falling apart. No control of mid. Nobody wrapping the south side of the map. Everything just funneling in through one point of contact, and that is essentially what any defensive team wants to deal with. No trickery, no wrenches in the play, just a good old bang out at B. And everything for Mission Magpies was securing middle map, having your SMGs go rogue, get lost, and shoot your opponents in the back as much as you can. Never once did I see Team Pulsar actually push through the south side of the map to get in towards P4 after that first initial attack failed at the B zone. Nothing to try to flip those spawns out, nothing to try to get behind the play.
No, big agree. I've got written down here on my piece of paper, simple. That very much so felt like what it was. Just going back to some of the things we were seeing in the hard point, some of the things we're seeing in the S&D. You said it there, no trickery, no wrenches, no ratty little plays to make things difficult. They're taking clean gunfights. Sometimes you don't want that to be a thing. You do, well, 4 in the feed, you'll like that off the initial break. And this is somewhere where Team Pulsar started well last time. They were quick out the gates. They were hot to the fight. And Danny's getting aggressive, finding 4 and bullying Mission Magpies all the way back to dirt. It's going to allow Ika to set up a crossfire on the opposite side. And well, unfortunately, he gets shot in the back. But that's much more like it from this Team Pulsar squad. But can they maintain? Stamina's been a big issue so far.
Oh, yeah. That's the way I like it. A little bit of aggression coming up from the subs. 3 subs set up from Team Pulsar. That just non-stop pressure overbearing. Mission Magpies, 42 seconds, a 5 life difference. And Quick again, gonna look to get in behind. Overlay shot in the back. It's Kez now to look to make some heroics happen alongside Lampy. But as you make yourself known, the rest of the players just gonna collapse on your position, continue to drain the time.
Ciara finds a big one on Pack. Also then gets damage into a second. We should delay the push, but unfortunately it's 3 dead in the feed. So Mission Magpies an opportunity to stack 2 bodies. Ike has got a big job here up top just to make sure that his teammates don't have too much to worry about. But Kez has done the right thing, and this is something that Team Pulsar struggle with. He's just pushing over towards B, being a nuisance, delaying the reinforcements on that A point, allowing his teammates to get back in. That trickery, that being a nuisance and difficulty that Team Pulsar lack. Mission Magpie showing it in spades.
It's a good recollection. It is slow progress at A. So they clear out B. They work together to swing it. Ciara literally shooting at the ground. I don't know what is there, but A's gonna get secured.
Darn trophy
4
systems.
life lead. And for a moment there, you're seeing Team Pulsar have the communication and the teamwork needed to break that A zone. They just could never get through that double door.
All the work from Kez to alleviate that pressure. Unfortunately, still leaves his team 6 lives down, so they've got a lot of work to do here. You've got to find a couple of free picks, and for me, Team Pulsar, don't mind the idea of turtling up just a little bit here. Trying to force the Mission Magpies to come to you. Ensure you maintain that life advantage. You will be up 2 ticks if it ends this way, so, and you'll take trades all day as Lampy's back down over by Solo.
It's going to be a little bit more diverse, though, from Mission Magpies than your attack. You know you have to have some defense over towards P4. Watch for this flank, and they do. Danny snaps over towards Lampy. 4 lives remaining. No respawns for the Magpies. And Team Pulsar really stepping up in this round, showing some teeth. And not rolling over gently. 13 seconds left for Mission Magpies to put anything together towards this B zone, but you're getting traded out, and that is whittling down your chances for an offensive win. And as the last kill comes through, you take that as a total win for Team Pulsar, not only in the round column, but you got 2 segments over towards B. There's a 5-3 difference in terms of ticks now for the round. So if this goes back and forth for defense, this round means a lot.
It does indeed. And the thing is, well, Team Pulsar have been very hot off the start in both rounds. So, if they can come out with that same intensity, manage to rack together a couple of ticks on that A point, we could be talking a situation where Team Pulsar, very much so, putting themselves in pole position for the map. We've spoken about their lack of stamina, though, in maps so far. So is about coming out again with that same energy, with that same hunger. They need to win these opening engagements cleanly.
Here we go. Team Pulsar came out roaring in their first attack. Even more so in their defensive round. Let's see if they can get things together here. What a shot! That's one of the toughest headies in this map. Unfortunately, it hasn't really led to anything. Overlay's going to have his hand at a flank behind the play. I'm not sure if they're going to be ready for this at all, and they're not. So 3 go down. Sights on the 4th as well. Icarus just has to play their life.
Sierra will find Overlay. Gives you an opportunity to alleviate pressure, put together some sort of attack plan, and this is what we wanted to see, right? A player being a little bit tricky. I think it goes over towards B, manages to kill one, and what that does is it just delays the Mission Magpie's reinforcements for a moment. Lampy, though, continuing to be a nuisance in mid, so you don't really take advantage of it if you are Team Pulsar. Still no tick. We're down to nearly 30 seconds. This has been as bad as it can get, really, for Team Pulsar. They gotta find something here to take advantage of their good round 1, or it's all for naught.
It's fierce right now. Mission Magpies back into the flow state from maps 1 and 2. No mercy on the map. 14 seconds left. One last shot at a zone, whether it's A or B. You gotta decide. Kaz just sitting over towards P2, lighting them up from afar. And not allowing anything to happen really whatsoever. Lampy Overlay taking care of business at the A zone. And what a standout round. They put their foot down. They decided this is it.
It's one of those moments where Mission Magpies, again, just remind us the gap that exists here. Mission Magpies, who had a, so far 2-2. They've kind of done what everyone expected them to do. It was a game 5 victory over Project 7. And then, well, other than that, losing to Team Notorious and Mistaken, kind of what we all basically would have put down in our script. It was basically not a surprising performance. So for them to come out today, guarantee qualification, ensure that they remind Team Pulsar of this gap is a great thing to see if you're a Mission Magpies fan. It's a team that's obviously going to be trying to warm themselves up, get themselves ready for the playoff run.
This is a team that's looking to shock the bracket in playoffs. With plays like this, confidence like this, they can do just that. Pac, good timing there onto Icarus. Another set of kills and over towards A. The setup's going to happen. Pac might look for some double progression, and that's going to force the hand of Pulsar to decide, do you want to stop A or do you want to go to B? It doesn't matter.
It does not matter. Yeah, you win pretty much everything, unfortunately, if you are Mission Magpies. Overlay is going to continue to bully players back as they try and get out of Arch, and that's going to allow Lampy to activate on the opposite side. He finds one, does finally find two, and this is worst case scenario for Team Pulsar. You are so deeply trapped in your spawn. The thing is, Lampy, as long as he just continues to delay, he's doing his job perfectly. And now Pac in Art as well. And oh my god, who's on offense or who's on defense at this point?
Oh, where are you running, Quick? Yeah, look to your left. Does it even look before crossing the straight? Now, Mission Magpies looking to light the lamp here, as nobody's going to check their corners. 6 in a row for Lampy. B being worked on. Lives draining. Life no more. As it has gone fast with the triple setup. Mission Magpies for the 3-0 sweep. Host ended the game. They decided it was over when they said it's over. No chances here in the group stage.
I feel like sometimes, you and me, we come into these and we'll take a quick look, of course, at the scoreboard. Felt like Pac had a good series all the way through. Kez, 25 and 15, but we saw a lot of the work that he did that won't translate to a scoreboard, right? Just when we thought that Pulsar had a bit of momentum and were able to shut them down a little bit, end up in a situation where, he goes over, he plays that opposite side of the map, he makes sure that he's moving that defense around off Pulsar, and very much so being a team player. So, saw a lot of good stuff coming out of Mission Magpies. It will be, what a lot of people potentially had on their script. I think the way it goes down there's a couple of different lessons here for everyone involved. I think for Team Pulsar, it's that you clearly have something about you, and I hate to make this comparison, but it reminds me of the Vegas Falcons in the CDL. They have something about them when it comes to like, look, I'm trying to do this in the nicest way possible. But you come
How is that nice?
Brother, look, they come out and they put up a performance at the start of a game, all right? And they did that in the hard point. They come up and they're involved. It's 50-50. They're doing a good job, but it's that ability to continually apply that pressure and approach it in that way. That's where they seem to be falling down. And for me, if you're these four, what you need to go away and do, and this is something a lot of us have said over the year when it comes to that roster, that Falcons roster, is you need to go back into, okay, well, what is your system when things start to go wrong? When things are going well, you're able to keep up with the team, sure. But it's when, okay, you suddenly go on a spree where you lose a couple of things. You suddenly lose that important part of the map, that checkpoint that you need to make sure you tick the box off when it comes to either a successful rotation or successful defensive hold. That is where a couple of these teams need to step up and figure it out. And for me, that's exactly what this Team Pulsar squad were lacking. Once it was good, but as soon as it went bad, it never really recovered from there.
See, me personally, I wouldn't take that, but I see where you're coming from. It's a lack of experience, it's a lack of tempo.
Unlucky, bro.
And give due time, it will turn around for some of these players. It's slow and steady. I mean, like, this has just been the first season for some of these players competing in a title. For BO6 in general, there's, a little bit, and I mean a little bit, 1 cup's worth of experience from MW3. The fact that you're in elites in general shows that experience is starting to push into something more, and reaching this elite now could be reaching the elite next time and winning a match and winning maybe 2 matches then later on, and just more and more until you are fully competing against teams like this, fully scrimming against teams like this, and you're working at all cylinders. And I think that you're going to recognize when you look back at this series, especially, and you saw it a lot in the Search and Destroy, was the tempo difference from this team. Is that as soon as you saw Mission Magpies need to adjust, they did it. They did it without hesitation, and they were quickly able to work around it. With some veteran experience from players like Pak and Kez, you're going to see things like that happen definitely quicker for the Mission Magpies. For Team Pulsar, though, you even look towards the control, the hard point, the respawns are starting to get there. Yes, the hard point was very one-sided, but you were getting rotations early. You were getting the setups. You just were losing the fights, and you weren't really manipulating and locked in those spawns very well. For the control, you had a near flawless defensive round. The first attack probably should have been yours, barring Lampy making that flank play through mid. It's just the slow and steady build-up of what could be for this team is what I'm kind of looking at.
I mean, look, I saw that Dan comes up in the chat saying, Slammed, you're sitting there like mind blown about my comparisons to the Vegas Falcons, but I go back to something else about that same roster that kind of like that was the issue to do with them. We get confirmation from Ben, by the way, who does a phenomenal job when it comes to stats for challengers, and he says that actually Pulsar won the first blood battle in the S&Ds. That's insane to think, considering they got completely run over in the S&D. And this is another example of a team that, they have a couple of great ideas, they do, and they have that very like instant impact that they want to have. It's a case of, okay, where do you go from there? It's about how you get from A to B. I think they're very good at A. It's just, again, as you said, they're applying some lessons learned here and talking about, okay, well then how do we move on forward as a team and get ourselves to that next step, that next level? And you and me, a lot of teams, and potentially this team that we've just been talking about, probably going to be sitting there feeling a little bit sore about it. But brother, we've been casting since when did you start casting multiplayer? I was casting in Cold War. Like, how many different players have we seen come through? And the first time we see them in the elite, they get chokeslammed. They get absolutely bullied out. But all of a sudden, through the year, they're seeing a couple of deeper placements. They're seeing a couple of tighter games go their way. The year after, they get themselves on a roster. Suddenly, they're making playoffs. And then it gets better and better from there. No reason that any of these 4 gens couldn't be in that position.
I think a player right away that jumps out to me is Big Head in NA, who has played on YFP.
Wonderful name.
In previous games, now plays for. It's slipping me right now on what roster they're going to be on. But alongside Cruz.
Is it the new Royal Spartans roster? Is that who picked him up?
Yeah, it's the new Royal Spartans roster. Yeah, Big Head. I mean, I've been casting him since Cold War. And, I would see him at locals, I would see him at events, and I would see him, placing towards the top, but with outcomes that are like wins at locals, nothing truly in challengers. Over the years, you build up, and now he's one of the top teams in elites. The years later, it's a long, arduous road for some players in learning those lessons and getting that experience and putting it all under your belts, and it will turn around for them. I mean, it's just the start of a journey.
It is.
That you cannot believe what's going to happen next for some of these players. But Kez on Twitter comes out and, he just goes straight up said it. He says he doesn't know why Danny Cod was shooting bodies in that round. Kez, you know why Danny Cod was shooting bodies in that round. He smoked you in that fight, I will say. Shooting bodies part, maybe a little bit less deserved than anything, but you got smoked.
Indeed. Get smoked, I will say. Just to kind of draw the conversation back in for a second, because of course we're Watch Party here. We get to do kind of what we want. We don't, have to sit here and do it like main broadcast do. And they're doing a wonderful job over there. Of course they are, but we can also talk about a couple other things. First of all, guys, please do let me know if there are any issues still remaining. Basically, looks like I imported a scene, broke all my audio, so I do apologize for that. That's on me. I've just never worked with scene imports or YouTube before, but we're figuring that out. We got there. You got to hear Seymour for the vast majority of things, so you're fine. Don't worry about it.
I was talking to myself.
Yeah, it's all good. But yeah, unfortunately, I think my audio did not come in for quite some time. Or the game audio, so we're doing a fantastic job. But also, what I'm going to do while we're in this downtime, we'll wait for the next game to get started. Me and Colin obviously are going to do a lot of chatting, figuring things out. But also, I'm going to flick through a couple of the different scenes here and just kind of put ourselves in a spot where you guys can let me know if there are still any little gremlins going on, particularly audio balancing, because for whatever reason, that scene import, as I said, did change all of my audio settings. And Seymour, you know how much of a pain that is because you do a lot of production yourself. So, yeah.
What are we saying about like bathroom breaks for this? Usually I get a chance to walk away and go. Do you guys just like get up and go? Like, what do you do for that?
Yeah, we just get up, walk out. I mean, I can put it on pause if you want, but we've also got like, I can do, for example, what does this button do? Let me find out. No, we've already done that one. We want to do this one. All right, so this is like, what I can sit here, talk through this. You want to go for a gentleman's break, my friend? Feel free. And I will continue to adjust a couple of the audio bits here while you go do your thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn my camera off. No free shows to chat.
God damn, dude! I know where that back door leads. That's the thing. So you and me have talked about this. I'll see you soon. Right. Okay. Chat. I'm gonna very quickly figure out this audio stuff. Bitrate looks good. Then we are good there. Let me sort out. Okay. So the audio. Let me go on over to the two box here. What have we got? We've got. All right. Chat mic should be 0. Discord we're gonna knock to -10. So let me just make a note of that. Because what I'm going to do is just copy that over to the other scenes. That way we're not in any trouble. Spotify, for if we do play some music, is there. And then system, I forget what we had it at previously, but I'll just knock it in at like -20 for now, and we'll see how that looks as we go. And I will quickly set that up on the back end here. But first of all, yeah, let's take a quick look here at, what it is when it comes to EU great. Now, this is obviously the permutations. This is how everything goes. CDC Intel, of course, Ben, Josh, of course, all doing amazing things. We do have, what's he called? Copy, doing obviously a great job over there on the pit. So many fantastic people in our space doing, wait, I should send this to you, Seymour. I apologize. Unless, because you won't be able to see it because I'm messing with the settings.
Yeah, I can't see anything right now.
Yeah, that's my bad. That's the whole intention right now. I'm gonna send you that so then you have permutations and we can run through it all. But
I've been looking through this in general, and I do want to also kind of like double shout out CDC Intel for everything that that they do, because even I think it was yesterday they were saying, just how sometimes things don't really come across in like ways that you feel like you're doing something that matters. And, obviously, you can feel like you're taken advantage of for doing all these stats. And I just want to say for CDC Intel and all the work that they do, it does not go unnoticed, I'm sure, to the teams, to the players. And it is huge to see just coverage, especially outside, when we used to have the rotation or really anything else. Crone, the work that he's done in the past too. Picking up the mantle, doing it yourself. I'm loving all the coverage of challenges that we get from CDC Intel, and I'm loving these permutations that we got today as well.
Yeah, 100%. I would echo that, you know, 1,000,000%. I'm pretty much, a lot of us working in challenges, we're doing it because we love the space. You know, this is, I mean, God, me and Seymour, we started casting this together back in, did we cast it all together in Cold War? I can't remember. I know we did cast a lot together in
Maybe.
Vanguard.
That's a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. I slept many a time since then. Less so recently, of course, but, you know, we're getting there with that.
I've been on this one since MW 2019.
Oh God, okay, all right. So I started.
Yeah.
I started at the beginning of Cold War. I started with some EEG stuff, but you know, Colin is mega loud on this 2-box. Okay, let me just check if it has. Okay, that's why, because it hasn't applied. I'm just literally adjusting the audio in the back, so I will keep it on this scene for a minute. Because then it's all good. Colin, you should be fine now. But yeah, so obviously been casting since Cold War, and I mean, over the years, we've had so many great people, as you said, Crone, you know, used to be Ant for the rotation. We've got Copy at the pit. We've got Ben, who's in the back, and he's always watching and like giving great pointers. And when I go to LAN events, Ben's amazing, like such a like superhero of the space. We've got Josh, of course, at CDC Intel. So many of you who we do indeed owe so many thanks to, and I'm not sure how we give that thanks, but I'm sure we will all do our very best, because you know, you've got a lot of people who love you on this side of the camera. I know, you know, anyone here, community broadcast side, etc. We've all got a lot of love for the people who put in so much time and space. So much time and passion into our space. So yeah. But looking at those permutations, I believe next we have Kinky and Annex. So Team Lin will be looking at this game in particular because they needed to win against JSF and hope that Annex lose to Kinky. I haven't paid attention to what the other games are, what the other results are just yet. Kinky need to win against Annex and Team Lin to lose, and they would qualify. And there's also a scenario where Team Lin, Annex, and Kinky end in the three-way tie. But you would need... I mean, yeah, I was about to say, I was looking, I was like, Jesus Christ, what's the tiebreaker for this? And even Josh is like, I don't know what the tiebreaker would be. So it's like, well, I ain't trying to figure that out. You guys can do all that math. Wow, that would be crazy.
Yeah, I was taking a look at it earlier too, and I think that the tiebreaker might even come down to maps, depending.
Yeah. Does it go any further than that? I don't think we've ever had a tiebreaker that's like we've had tiebreakers obviously where it's like
so unlikely.
We've had tiebreakers where it's like map head to head, and then we've had tiebreakers where it's like percentages. I think is it after that?
So essentially, where it would go is it goes tiebreaker would go to, I'm pretty sure, head to head.
Okay.
And then, you know, who beats who, because essentially, like, there will be a head to head before both of those teams. And with that head to head, then it goes into if it's still like tied with other teams, then it would be like probably map counts for either side. You know, who's won the more maps and who's lost the more maps in terms of that. I don't remember really there being anything in recency. You know, there's definitely been some tiebreakers in previous seasons and previous titles, but I don't remember anything recently that has gone to like that big of a tiebreaker. So yeah, I think it would go from basically wins, losses, then into head to head, and then into map count. I could be wrong. I could have it all flipped around, but that order, it's those ones in order in some fashion.
Well, we'll take a look at what was. I mean, let me zoom that in a little bit because that's going to be weird on the vertical monitor. But yeah, I guess we take a quick look at like how things looked before we came into today. I'm assuming that the games obviously are going to be updated later. So what we had was Kinky play Annex. Katana Gaming, Orchid. Oh wait, these must have been the wrong way around because we've already had the Pulsar Mission Magpies match. So I'm just trying to find out exactly who played who. I know that on main broadcast they had Tug Esports and Project 7. So that was Tug Esports, Project 7 right here on the cusp of things. So a situation where, I mean, Project 7, they lose to Mission Magpies. So I guess for Project 7, it's just trying to cling on to that 4th spot, right? Tug Esports is trying to steal it away. Considerable difference in map count there. Though I wonder for Tug, you played Magpies, you've played Mistaken, you've played Notorious. So yeah, you've played 3 big games nice and early. Whereas for Project 7, I mean, you held 3 game 5s against the three top teams in this. So, yeah, Project 7 very much so. Is this who I think it is? No, it's not. No, it's Desiree Vivicon, D10, Denza. For some reason, I thought this was going to be Julian and that lineup. Who are they playing for at the minute?
Julian and Callum. They were in the opposite group. Hit show rosters, and you can just do it all at once.
You know what? I have used this page so many times, and I've never known that the button existed.
They're over on Mistaken Esports.
Yes, they are. Yeah, they are. So very much so, looking like, you know, I think Julian came in. I saw like a bunch of ratings go out from, was it Ben or was it CDC Intel? A bunch of ratings go out, and Julian was ranked #1 up there. So very much so impressing out here. Obviously, this
Julian's been good, and he was also playing at that LAN you went to not too long ago and won, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so this is where I was going to kind of take it. Like, Julian looked really good on that LAN. Obviously, you know, a lot of people have questions about LANs like that because they're a case of, oh, we've only beaten X, Y, Z. And it's, you know, of course, not trying to be disrespectful in any way. That is, of course, not, you know, Team Notorious and Afro on the other side of things, who's been a pro player and probably should be a pro player again. But it's a case of you can only beat the dominoes set up in front of you. You can only knock those down as and when they're placed in front of you. And he did a fantastic job of that. Looked really good all the way through the tournament. So did his teammates, to be fair. But yeah, Julian definitely stood out. A couple of people said to me beforehand, this is probably going to be the Julian show. And he delivered on that. And that's, again, another situation where you're put under pressure. You're kind of like, okay, you're supposed to walk into this line. You're supposed to look great. And he did that. So continuing to step up here through the elite. So I guess then what that does leave is, of course, Team Notorious and Team Mistaken to play against each other. Yeah, so that's going to be a really interesting game. I'm just checking. It's not on main, and we don't have it either. So that will be a fun one. We also take a quick look at Group B. So this is obviously where we're heading to next with Annex and Kinky. I am curious about whether or not we could have come up with a better name. I'm not going to lie. But
it's not even the worst name I've seen in Challengers, I'll tell you that. I was actually going to go to that later on. We can talk about it.
Okay. Well, Kinky, they only have Annex left to play, having played, of course, in a loss against Jump Shot in a game 5, Katana Gaming 3-0'd, 3-0'd as well by Team Orchid. I feel like Team Orchid Katana coming out strong in this group is not a surprise. And then a game 5 loss to Team Lin. So Kinky, if they could figure out their S&Ds, I mean, they could have been walking away 2-2 coming into today. It could have been a very different story for them.
It definitely could have been a different story for them. You said that you wanted to know the outcome for that Team Notorious game. I'm pretty sure it's being streamed on the community stream right now.
Nice.
On twitch.tv/Major Chafing.
Okay. Well, I mean, if we've got permission, you're the, what's the word for it? The commissioner? Is that the correct word for it?
I'm not the commissioner for it.
We can pull it up while we're waiting for this other game to go live.
So it's happening. They're in the hard point. I'm not sure if this is map 1 or map 4, but Notorious are winning right now in the Hacienda hard points. Julian's having himself a game, though, I will say.
No, Julian continuing to impress. I will check. Was it CDC that put it up? CDC. I know they do a lot of work with stats. It might have been Ben. He does a lot of great work as well around stats. I mean, hang on. We can actually kind of find out here as well. Wow. Okay,
so Team Notorious took the hard points, 250 to 173. Mistaken took the S&D 6-3. So I'm not sure who took the control, but we're in a map 4.
Well, yeah, we did indeed get to a map 4.
Oh, Notorious took the control.
Okay, all right. So it is map 4 then. I mean, we could pull it up here, chill. Obviously, we don't need to cast over the community broadcast. I've got that covered, but we can just chill and watch it while we do so. Twitch.tv/ you say Major Chafing?
Major_Chafing.
Okay. Chill and watch this while we.
I will say though, too, because we were talking about NA players who have had like a really impressive, I'd say, rise in challengers. An EU player that like I kind of want to do a little bit of PR for it because I'm looking at it right now. Is Aspect, who's on Katana this year, who's been playing alongside Brezzy and Cobra, and Super earlier, Vortex now, after Super went over towards North America. in reference to our whole conversation on players who've had like a slow start in challengers and slowly build their resume into an area where now they are quite literally on one of the best teams in Europe. And he is a fantastic player, and he's been a fantastic player since he's joined challengers. But Aspect, I mean, all the way back in MW2 when I was watching him alongside Maestro and Chunk, and I think it was Twisted who he was alongside too when he first joined in. He didn't qualify for a single elite in MW2.
Okay.
MW3, he started to qualify for elites. And in terms, I don't think he was making it towards playoffs. He might have made it towards playoffs, and if so, it was the lower side of certain playoff placings. But now, 2 years later, Enigma, you find yourself playing alongside Brezzy and Cobra, who are both CDL caliber players, and Vortex, who is one of the most winningest players in Challengers Europe. So like that is where I kind of show is that like it is a long con when you're in Challengers in terms of trying to rise the ranks. And that is like first and foremost a player that I look at who has gone through that grind and it's paid off.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we were talking about it before, and I feel like a lot of people, I mean, there's been talks about it in the main community, right? Like, you know, Elton Boy coming out and making some of the comments that he did and all that stuff that's kind of come out. And, you know, it's very much so a situation of, it's a lot of people, I think, take a look at challengers sometimes and think that this is a level that's a million miles apart from the pro level and all that stuff. But I mean, again, we've seen it so many times. I mean, you and me were casting Hydra in Cold War. We've done a lot over the years to cast over certain players and gone, damn, they really look like they could make that jump. They have some molding to do, they have some growing to do, but they, you know, we've seen several players make that leap on over through the years. And you know, you mentioned a couple of players there. You know, you mentioned Brezzy, you mentioned Cobra, we mentioned a lot of players who have grown so much over the years, put themselves in or around the league spots. Aspect, well, it really has taken a lot of leaps forward. I've taken a scroll back here because I remember casting over him a lot on that Noctum roster for MW3, now alongside Nile, Detain, and Twiz. And that was a good roster. That was a good place to get to, but obviously he's taken it 2 levels beyond since then, having himself a fantastic BL6 season. I love that you're calling him out. Definitely a player who now, like, it's one of those moments where all of a sudden we all go, all right, let's pay a lot of attention to Aspect. Let's uber critical of everything that Aspect does. But I mean, it's if you're going to step up to the next level, playing alongside Brezzy, Cobra, and of course, I mean, that was super before Vortex came on over. But you know, playing at that level, you got to expect to deal with the pressure and mold yourself into that diamond.
Dude, I just went back and I'm looking at Challengers 2021 Elite Stage. For North America, I'm just like, what do the Cold War rosters look like? The number 1 team was Jerd, Sib, John, and Gravity, like together on that Easter roster. Major Maniac was playing there. Yeez was playing down there. God Rex, Kismet was on one of these teams. Now he's on, you know, back-to-back grand finals, back-to-back almost grand final like teams. You'd say, and yeah, Hydra also playing down there too. Like it is, it's a long road for a lot of people.
It is, and you end up in a situation where, you know, I think sometimes players, you need to have that light at the end of the tunnel. I think that some players see it and maintain it and keep that belief in it. Obviously, some players, unfortunately, I think that they slip off through the years. But I think, yeah, you calling out Aspect there. I think, you know, we've just been talking about Julian. His teammate alongside him, Callum. I think that's a name that's come up regularly recently, and it's a lot of players where you're kind of like, okay, well, can you take the steps forward year on year on year, grow, you know, make sure that the practice time is something that is paying off as you move, and turn yourself into a player that puts yourself right on the precipice. Because of course, you know, once you get into the elite, you are part of the very best. This is essentially the bridge between the pro league and down here in Challengers. And we look at like this Team Notorious roster, for example. Afro, previously in the league. Eric Boom, previously in the league. F-Dot and Rafi are not as of yet, but they're certainly players right at the top end here of this space. So, yeah, so many opportunities being put on here. And I think now I'm just going to be spending my whole rest of the elite stage paying attention to what Aspect gets up to. I'm not going to lie, my friend. I'll be honest, I've never met Avo. I know Mark. Met him at the Katana Land. Avo, though. Is it? Wait.
I'm pretty sure Team Notorious just won that game, by the way.
For real? I was trying to keep up with it.
Pretty sure.
But we were chatting about Aspect. Oh, my bad.
Yeah. We were kind of on that Aspect PR team right there.
So Team Notorious then will go 5-0 in groups. They'll have dropped only 3 maps en route. Mistaken Esports will have dropped 6 altogether, as is written. What I will say for Mistaken, they 3-0'd both Pulsar and Tug as expected. They will unfortunately lose 3-1 to Team Notorious. 3-2 victory over Project 7 and a 3-1 over Mission Magpie. So still looking like a great roster. A team that, if all stars align when it comes to playoffs, could make a fantastic run.
I'm looking towards Group B now, too. And there's some big games going on there because Team Orchid, that is Vance, Harry, Mythics, and Henry.
Yes.
Haven't lost a game. They beat Katana 3. No, they have to play Katana today. That is going to be a big game to watch. But that Katana roster also lost to Jump Shot France, which is that's Natix, Melko, Mighty, and 6. A good squad too. Wow, that Group B is kind of deadly right now. Like, that is really weird. I now understand where you're looking at all those permutations for Group B, and you're just like, I really don't know what is to be from this game that we're going to be watching, because hypothetically, Annex and Team Lin win, Jump Shot France lose, Katana lose that one, and you are pretty close into, who's going to be the top and who's going to be towards the bottom for that 4th place spot. So yeah, that Annex and Team Lin 4th place spot is going to be really down to Annex and Kinky. And even still, the rest of it, it's been a battle for 2nd and 3rd.
Well, I mean, I'll pull them up again here. We're going to take, a look at the permutations that were being pulled up by Josh over at CDC Intel. And it's a tough one to kind of figure out, B. I guess you end up in a situation where, I mean, what would be the cleanest route here? What would be the route that kind of stops us all having to do mental maths? I guess Team Lin come out and win in their matchup, but even, I mean, that's against Jump Shot France, so that's a very big ask. And even then, like, what Annex lost to Team Lin. So if Team Lin win, then that makes it very simple for us, I feel. But other than that, so if Team Lin lose, Kinky win. What was Team Annex and Lin? 3-2? So if it ends up in Game 5, Kinky...
It's the easiest thing ever that we won't have to do mental math is if Team Lin wins.
Yeah. So Team Lin, come out, 3-0 this, save us all from having to do mental math, and we shall be feeling pretty good about ourselves. Because, otherwise... Yeah, okay. Josh had already done the maths, so I don't know why I was trying to do it. So yeah, if Kinky win 3-2, then you would both have a 1-4 record, a 7-14 map count, and a 5-5 map count in head-to-head tiebreakers. All right, so.
And then it would probably come down to who beat who. Which,
yeah, I guess, like, okay, how did you do against, like, the number 1 team, I guess? So Team Orchid.
Which right now,
3-0,
Annex
3-0, 3-0.
Annex right now has the head-to-head over Team Lin. So if map count is the same,
but Kinky would have their
series record is the same.
Oh wait, we are live, by the way. The guys have like just gone straight into game. So we are off. We are underway. No more talking about permutations. No more trying to figure this all out. It is Annex Esports against Kinky. Final game in Group B to book yourself a ticket to playoffs. And, well, I tell you what, for a start there, Kinky get off to a very aggressive push.
You know what my favorite thing in general is about permutations? Is that it's not my job to figure out who actually is the one who walks away with it. Yeah. That is my favorite thing.
I love that someone else has to come up with who gets through. Like, I'm with you all day there.
I don't want that power. Don't give me that power.
No, absolutely not.
But even still, for this Kinky squad, I am surprised that this Kinky squad is having such an issue that they are, because, I mean, you just think of the tenure that Niall has had in Challengers, the success that he's had, even before the CDL has been a thing. And then Fibron and Twiz, who have grown through the French circuit, or the French just teams through challengers together into this roster. They have also had very successful elite runs. But you know, Ben W coming into it alongside Niall, you know, you put all this together and it just, maybe things aren't clicking.
Man, I'm pretty sure that this is the team, Team Lin, where they had themselves quite a few close matchups. So you end up in a situation where, yeah, you lose game 5 to Annex. And it's just one of those where it's like, okay, so what could have been? But for Kinky, I agree with you. Looking at these 4 and thinking, all right, guys, you're currently sitting at the bottom of your elite group. I definitely don't think they saw this coming. Yeah. Well, off the back of P2, we will see a relatively tied game. It's Annex that are going to be rotated in for the better side. Rasco clears off Fibron and will then take mid control as well. Love the reposition from Rasco there. Very heads up, very proactive. And then Infinity will just bottleneck 2 players in front of him. For me, a lot of the work here is going to come in from Fibron. I think you got to win this fight mid and then start to push out towards this P4 side.
And Rush is going to take it into his own hands to see if he can get behind the play. Going to wrap early because he knows somebody has gone through. Fibron gets the early shots, not able to walk through with the kill. It's the power of the Jackal, turning it into a double kill. A win on the fight for CJP. Leaves the zone open for now. So a little bit more work to do here from Annex Esports with the better spawns to P4 to see if you can keep Kinky out of this hill. Rush just waiting for the nade to come out. He's going to slide shell. Double, though, for Twiz as he's able to hold on for the team.
CJP doing a great job watching that cross, ensuring that you're not getting flanked through elbow. But you have company at Lion. Great win. Shuts down Twiz. A couple of important gunfights go the way of Annex, but Kinky have managed to pull it off.
Ow.
They get themselves in. It's a great question. But, well, Kinky will not care. They get in through the back. They will have a player spawned out, though. This pressure coming in through the front. Rascal will apply that. However, CJP has also found his way in through R. He gets to kill Arch. Fibron's got a big job to do, and CJP gone huge in the back. And for 3, and breaks a hill all by himself.
Yeah, literally single-handedly. I mean, I don't know how you hold a full hill or a full side of the map for 60 seconds of P3, and then in the first 5 seconds, you just crumble. But even still, CJP, you're going to be happy enough to hold on to some of this time, keep this game about even heading into the second set of rotations. But a major break there for Annex Esports. Now with the back spawns as well, you're going to have to break through this one if you're going to work over towards this P1 setup. Kinky, have a chance to trap them for a second.
Rascal doing his best to try and push on out here, and spawns go absolutely everywhere. Oh my god, Rush will actually spawn dirt side alongside CJP. Right now, an opportunity to kind of set up a little bit of a pinch, but everyone else dies, so CJP going to be on his own. He broke a hill single-handedly moments ago. Well, he's just going to try and be a nuisance for this one. As his teammates do find kills elsewhere, this will give you control again of P1. Just ensuring that you don't overextend and avoid and risk flipping someone out.
And here's Infinity. I mean, a fantastic turn of events. You just start putting together a couple of kills, slow first rotation, but that right there switches the lead back in for your team and secures those P2 spawns for now. CGP, though, going to get caught. Suddenly a little bit of pressure. You can see the white arrows for Kinky gonna flood through, forces the ammo spawns now for Annex. They have one more shot at defending this rotation. Fibron, though, gonna slide out. He takes down 2. Rush in trouble. He needs help. Unfortunately, for himself, he's gonna win his battle and keep those spawns for your team.
Oh, it's messy, but Rush will get himself back into the point and stay alive. Infinity's pushed out towards Solo just to control this bottleneck and does a great job of it. The problem is you flip your opposition into dirt, and that's what I meant about getting over-aggressive. Very easily done. Niall with an absolute Kobe of an aid lands it in CJP's teeth. Rasco's got a lot of jobs to do on the cross. And while Rush does a great job, he will be traded. Rasco's going to be last alive. And well, Annex, you push too far forward. You put Kinky into the back. Well, actually, Infinity gets in for free. How the hell's that happen?
He just slides through with the timing. The stars align. This is a scrappy game so far.
Messy.
I mean, neither team in the past 4 or 5 hills has actually had a solid setup. I mean, you even think towards P4 when Annex had the better spawns, they had everybody where they needed to be, and then they just lost their gunfights. Nothing is stable right now in this game for either squad, and I really don't know who's going to be the winner of this game. It could literally turn any way in any moment.
CJP does well there to stay alive as long as he does. It gave his teammates an opportunity to reinforce. And Rasco will pick one up from Palms. It's now about watching your crosses. Mid-map control, ever important when it comes to this hill. Not only for controlling the actual hill, but also for any sort of permutations when we talk about that rotation to P4. And for Annex, you've not really got the grip on this that you want, and that will make it even weaker. Rush here to try and support. Twiz has gone cat. It's a great read from Rush, but you don't win the fight.
So it's CJP to see if he can track these players down. Another swing at the hill, looking to steal away the scrap time. CJP for another double kill, but Twiz has gotten through. That is going to shake up the spawns, surely, and it does. Rasco, cross the map. Twiz, lots to do, but he's not able to get it done. Rush, holding things down for your team.
Infinity, a lot of work here to do on the cross, just to try and protect. CJP will get aggressive. That's incredibly unfortunate, as Infinity's nade that we see just before he dies catches his teammate. Now, you've managed to break on through if you are Kinky. Team kill helping you ever so much. And put yourself in a situation here where we are looking at a relatively tied game. Potentially Kinky taking a slight lead here, although you will have CJP rotating in through the front. He plays in through that art side, will be found. So Kinky then with an opportunity, as I said, to take the lead as we head into our third set of rotations. For Annex, I feel like you just want to draw a line here, try and trap them in. I'm a little bit worried that you're giving up a lot of the map presence that you could have.
Giving up a lot of kills, a lot of the presence, and you're giving Kinky a way out of this hill. So, heading into the next set, Kinky off the back of Twiz, causing a little bit of discourse on that P4 rotation. Able to flip this lead now. And it's Annex with the chance to hopefully swing things around. They've always been better, at least through the hill, to hold the spawns. But as soon as it flips, so do they. Now from the front, Kinky looking to put together a break. Fip, Roan, Nile combined for 2. Twiz making it all down to Infinity to stay alive. See if you can take up top, but Nile catches him with the hip fire, and the spawns have flipped.
Huge moment from Kinky. Reminder, they must win this 3-1, 3-0 in order to get themselves into playoffs. For Annex, it's a situation of if you win it all, you go through to playoffs. But if we end up with a 3-2 Kinky victory, I don't even want to know how we figure that one out. So for Kinky, it's so much about getting off to a great start, and as they take the lead, try and set themselves up for P2. They've missed Rush. He gets in through the back. He finds a kill. 2 in the feed for Annex. An opportunity to steal straight in for P2. And for me, that's one of those moments. Kinky just not backing off, setting themselves that defensive cordon at the right time. You get flipped out. You've handed it all over to your opponents. But Annex have done the same thing.
Yeah, blast with the spawns in the back. I don't know how this happens. Rasco, he's stunned up. Can he hold on? Hits the deck, and Fibro just slides out. So it's Rush in the hill, looking to put together some sort of heroics to hold on tight. He's able to find 1. CJP not able to transfer into 2. So Kinky successfully get the break, successfully hold their lead. And you even have Twiz leave for a little bit more to keep it like that. 30 seconds that you certainly can pick up here if you're Kinky.
What a glorious 30 seconds it would be. I feel like it would give the first proper cushion we've seen. But CJP just rips straight through mid, bullies on through the front door, and stops all the momentum that Kinky had for a moment. What it will do, at least, is bully Kinky back into a corner, force them to turtle up. Niall's trying to give them a route out of this so that you can start that rotation over to 3 and contest it. And Annex Esport have left a gaping hole that is called Art and P4 side. You will get a spawn in for CJP, but you've got a huge fight on the rotation.
So big right now. CJP, he's underneath the plate. He's got a knife bend W. Bringing the knife out and causing a little bit of more discourse. So you're trapped on either side. If you're Annex, can you fight your way out of this one? So far, not so good, as Ben W is still up top. The human turret now, ready to keep Kinky in the lead.
Now's aggression here tempered, just ensuring that he's trying to catch players pushing on through the front. Twiz will actually deal with Infinity. Fib finds one. You will get 2 answers in reply from Annex, and they need the vast majority of these kills because you've got to not only push on through off the back of these, but then begin that fight for P4. You will see that Rush is actually hitting solo. There's a kill in from Infinity as well. 5 roll with a huge fight, and he wins it. 2 big kills that should hand the preferred side to Kinky and an opportunity to see it out here if Annex can't touch or even get close.
Here we go. It's the last step. Annex, twice they've had their hands at a setup early at P4. Twice they were broken within the first 10. CJP looking to replicate that. However, he's traded. Ben W in the back. Big win for Rasco. Twiz able to trade it, but you have fallen. What is that? I can't believe Twiz just ripped him. That is a nuclear shot.
Get absolutely lasered, says Twiz. 30 seconds still left to fight for this hill. Kinky need just 15 of them. Ben's gonna fly out and try and control so much of Palms. He does enough to delay the push, and now if you're Annex, you've just got to run, and Kinky can wait for you.
Gotta run. 7 seconds left. The fight's being won. Last chance in. CJP, he's gonna slide. In for the second, but Barone denies it. Kinky walking away with map number 1. And a map that, realistically, Annex, they could have won in so many different ways. But in those big moments, Kinky, they turned up. And in that last third set of rotations, they commanded everything.
Little spree here from now to watch as our best player, but I do want to tag on to something you said there at the end, and I agree with you entirely. Kinky will walk away from this up 250 to 200, but this was a messy game, a scrappy game, a game where we take a look at the scoreboard, and honestly, not many standout players. Twiz there, 35 and 30, probably your pick of the bunch statistically. 27 non-traded kills is a hell of an effort, 4.2k in terms of damage, but what I will say is you end up in a situation where I agree with you. It felt like there were a lot of ways in which Annex could have come out on top here. I'm thinking particularly P2s. I don't know what it is that they think that setup where they push further down pool side and towards Palm is doing for them. But one thing we saw happen twice there is it flipped their opponents in for that back spawn. So whatever it is they think they're doing, I think they're slightly miscalculating it.
Yeah, there's a couple of them. P2s, P4s just in general. I think, you know, you look towards that third set of rotation and there's 2 hills where you, push 2 forward on that P2. You give up those back spawns towards Kinky, and you allow them to have literally like the first time all game we saw a solid setup on a hill. And they got, what, like 30, 40 seconds off of that time as well. That flipped things to Kinky to have like the biggest lead that we've seen so far. And then P4, which is something that all game long, Annex have had art control. They've had P4 rotation. They had players there for the first 2 sets. And then in that last one, they leave the south side of the map open. You allow Ben W in behind to get that art control, and you give Kinky a chance in the last rotation of the game to have the setup for the best hill of the game. That is a huge mistake on their side when they were so good before that. Not only that, the first 2 times that they had their hands at that hill, it was somebody just waltzed right in the center and broke it from the front. I don't understand how on P4 nobody has, you know, a chance at art to watch that cross, but they've just gave up so much in those big moments.
No, I agree. I think that one of the things you call out there is that moment at the end where they basically have complete control of the correct side of a map for so long, and then it flips out at the wrong time. It felt like a lot of those last 10 seconds of hills where you're just looking to back on off, set yourself up and go, all right, this is our defensive cordon, try and play through us. We got a defensive setup. And instead it felt like, you know, you're losing then 3 or 4 bodies in a row, and just puts you in a spot where you've given up so much of what could have been. And the thing is, well, we sit and talk about is 50 points. That isn't very much. If you steal away 25 of theirs, you're even Steven. So many moments where, yeah, you're right, Annex Esports could have taken this map, but it will go to Kinky. And I guess we look ahead then. We go back to what the situation is here in terms of the elite standings and getting through playoffs. Kinky currently 0-4 coming into this. Annex Esports 1-3. Both of those teams are looking up at Team Lin right now, who I believe are playing Jump Shot. They will be playing, yes, Jump Shot France. So if Team Lin lose that game, Annex Esports and Kinky have an opportunity to get themselves in. So for Annex, it would be a case of win the series. For Kinky, it's win it better than 3-2 should get you through. I try and figure out the math from there. The thing is, for me, it's interesting with Kinky because we're now moving to that S&D mode. I'm looking at Kinky, who've lost 2 game 5s, one to Team Lin, one to Jump Shot France. So clearly a couple of things to figure out with their S&D. But also, I'm then looking at Annex. Rush, currently rocking a 1.36 in S&D. A hell of an individual performance. And while Search and Destroy KDs are certainly not everything to talk about, when I do take a look at the at the Kinky roster, not a single player positive. 0.73, 0.76, 0.61, 0.91. So I think S&D is a tough story for Kinky if they want to make sure that they see this series out in comfortable style and get themselves into playoffs. They have to make sure they come out strong here in map 2.
Yeah, I think that even in map 1, I mean, Rush and CJP easily look like 2 of the most standout players on this roster. I think the only one who really didn't have that good of a game on that vault was Infinity. And I'm not talking about Brody. I'm talking about the player that we saw playing for the roster.
We've
here
been there.
on
Could have been
NX.
the same guy.
It could have been that guy. You know how many times he says that he's going to slam us, and he couldn't even hang with these folks right now. But yeah. So into this matchup,
I'd love to keep harping on, but Brody gets upset about this. So
I don't want to bring. There's nothing that I could bring Brody down on right now. This guy, he is good. Honestly, I give him a lot, but he is good.
He's actually a good couple.
For that matchup in general, Infinity, definitely a player that you look towards this Annex team to really round it out in those respawns. And there were some of those moments where he just wasn't doing what you saw Nile do towards the end there, and especially on P2, lock down that outer lane. So
I agree.
Could have been different.
What I will say, brother, we had something very, very wrong. I'm gonna show you on the main screen. Unfortunately, Twitter has been weird to me there.
Oh,
but yeah, Team Notorious actually lost to Mistaken Esports 3-2. So we called them, maybe the names were the wrong way around in the hard point, because I thought it was also Notorious who come out on top. But oh no, never mind, because it was actually Team Notorious. Mistaken won the control. Okay, so that is what happened there. Because yeah, I thought Notorious had come out on top, but they did in the hard point. So Mistaken, Neslo, Team Notorious to take top spot in their group. Wow.
All right. So that's an interesting turn of events, especially for players like Julian and Callum, who literally you were just hyping up to be, some of the new up and coming talent here in Europe that is just consistently turning heads here in Black Ops 6. That is an impressive feat to accomplish, especially against a team like F. Rafi, Afro, and Eric Boom. That's got to be some sort of combination of players. F. I don't know what I just created there.
I mean, Rafdot, that is the ARDO.
Rafdot.
Yeah, coming on through.
Rafdot Boom.
Yeah, sure, why not? But for Team Notorious, I think they've obviously had a fantastic season so far. I think maybe a little bit disappointed with the Dallas Open finish. I think that's probably fair to say. But I think that it's been a good season so far. But you will not be walking away with top seed in your group, and I think that is definitely what they would have expected, regardless of the opponent that comes in. I think the only team they're probably looking at, over the other side of things, is going to be Team Orchid to really threaten them with how they've been. So yeah, it's a shocker. But I mean, this Mistaken Esports roster also no slouches. We've spoken about Twisted Chunk, Julian Callum, as you just said there. Julian Callum, 2 players I feel we've got eyes on. Not to take away from Twisted and Chunk either, but yeah, Julian and Callum, very good players indeed, showing what they can do. Just taking a quick look through anything else that has come through. P7 Esports beats off Tug Esports 3-0. I think that will basically just ensure that Project 7 go on through, which was what we were expecting. But
yeah, Project 7 3-0 Tug. So that is 4th seed secured for themselves.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So
this kind of further solidifies what I was thinking going into this stage of challengers, is that Team Notorious have been struggling lately. Not just, in putting away, obviously they've won elites, they've won cups, they've been at the best, they've been the top seed, but you go to Dallas, they lose to Cabal Gaming, go down into almost being knocked out in top 12. They had to fight Omit Brooklyn, the other elite winner from North America. And they walk away with that game in game 5. They push a little bit further into the bracket, but all in all, the team that they are, the roster that they have, it was an upset for them to not walk away into the grand finals at that event. And, to lose now versus Mistaken, I I'm surprised. It's just this team is showing something is going on. Something is just falling apart on this squad. Slowly.
Slowly, indeed. Be interesting to see how they bounce back. Maker. All the characters, how well you respond to adversity. So we'll keep an eye on how they look through playoffs, whether or not it is actually a problem. But for now, we have an S&D between Annex, Kinky. Kinky walking away 250 to 200 victors on the Vault hard point. And they also get, well, the first 2 kills, but then they are answered back. Although Niall will give them that numbers advantage yet again. And Rush here.
Rush.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Stays up by a bullet. I like the idea. And does well. Finds Fibrone. So Rush v Niall. Niall does have bomb, but no time to move it.
Yeah, bomb down. And a little bit of space here. It's going to be tough to win this with the Jackal. He doesn't even get the stun check into the back, but he should know Niall is back here. Rushing around, he cuts the distance, and he clutches up Rush. The best S&D player you got on your team. He puts it on display in round 1.
Rush by name, Rush by nature. Niall surely must have known that the bomb was there, right? I mean, he holds off that backside, unless he's not unaware and then thinks that Rush is going to be doing something different. It's one of those things that I kind of bring up these days a lot. Remember back in the day where you couldn't miss the bomb being down? It was basically a briefcase. I'm wondering if Niall actually didn't see that the bomb was there and therefore it steps out. Gets
Remember
picked
when
up.
the bomb actually looked like a bomb?
Good times.
Different designs, different times. I miss when it was like a landmine at AW and you could quick plant that. That was a weird time. Weird year. But Rush for first blood. That's bombed down. He's traded immediately. So the A site has fallen and CJP look to flank it.
It's all about setting up some sort of pinch attempt, and well, CJP tries to hit through Grandma's, but will be shut down by Niall. So numbers disadvantage for Annex, and how you retake this, well, I think they're going to try and set up some sort of... I was going to say coerced hit, but it's taking a long time for them to get this set up. You got less than 20 seconds.
This is more of an impenetrable fortress than Elbagra right now, but Rasco looking for a way in, almost turns it into a double kill. Infinity a little bit delayed off it, and there's no time. So Kinky, they hold on strong for round 2. Able to bounce back. Good trades inside the site alone to get that bomb plant down. Not allowing too much out of Rush off that opening blood. And they're going to tie us up.
What I will say, it felt like a couple of the right ideas there from Annex about how to retake that site. Just felt like the execution, they were off on timings. CJP, for example, arrives Grandma's side. You're not getting that pressure then coming through Spiral and front at the same time. Makes it a bit too easy for Kinky to bully that back. And you see that again there at the end. A situation where Rasco manages to get in, find one, and then puts a lot of damage into the second and third. If Infinity's hit that at the right time, you potentially clutch that on up. So Annex, right ideas, just need to work on those timings. Kinky will even us at 1-on-1.
Opening blood for CJP, looking for a little bit more as Twiz, so he's going to turn it into 2 and immediately hopping in towards that A site. Rush not nearly in the position he hoped to find himself in. Thought he could have slipped away towards that big door, but a 1 versus 3 for Rasco, and he has got some work to do. Although he has some timing down here. Nobody sees him. Fabro's going to get shot in the back, so making it a 1 versus 2. And Kinky are going to group up together.
Yeah, I like the idea. Felt like they had a complete lack of understanding where Rasco had gotten to.
Get this bomb plant. You have a chance.
You do. You have a very good chance. You have a Jackal in hand as well, and a trophy.
They're
so
chasing.
Oh,
he
you see
doesn't have
across.
time. He spots him. No, jumps up. Early shots. Not expecting the other one to be right around the corner. So Kinky. Massive round to put away there.
Feel like you end up in a situation here as Annex where you just lose so many of those opening fights. Put yourself in a spot where you're trying to clutch up. And Annex do the right thing. They get themselves together. Sorry, I've just said those team names the complete wrong way around. But Annex get themselves together. Figure things out. No, wait. Are we wrong names in game? Am I faded?
No, those are the right.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Annex managing to get themselves back into this.
I'm having a little bit of a connection issue. I'm not sure if that's just me.
Okay. Well, Rascal will find Twiz on the initial engagement, so Annex continues to look good in the openings. Just whether or not they can take more advantage of them. KK going to push on through here. BenW, if he gets this bomb plant down, and there's a big gunfight here, and Nile finds it, so you have Grandma's control, and you have the bomb planted for the correct side. Fibron trying to control the sidewalk. And Annex Esports really caught out here. They're unaware of where this team have managed to slip on through. Incredibly aggressive. Nile has gained so much map presence as well.
Well, now it's going to draw another kill onto the post plant. BenW wins this fight inside. And it's Rush taking the late route around. Able to at least find BenW, but that's all you're going to get there. Kinky with 3 rounds in a row after losing the initial 1v2 clutch that Rush had back in round 1. You look back to the series, or this map in general, and this could easily be a 4-0 for Annex, for Kinky in this game so far, if not for Rush in that one game that one round we had at the start.
So Annex then winning out these first bloods, but not the rounds. Needs to figure out how to execute through the mid phases of these rounds at the minute. Infinity will put out what feels like a preset nade, and well, Twiz will find the first. Ben with the second, Fibron with the third, and well, good luck to you, Infinity.
This is falling apart. This is the good old protocol classic. You bang it out A, you get first blood, maybe you're traded, or maybe you find 3 after that. And Infinity's going to be scratching his head on what do I do right now. So he's going to be spotted by Twiz, and not even a chance at that gunfight. Got a shot or 2 off, but Kinky's got 4 in a row now. And they're looking on top of the world. I mean, this is a roster that even you said has been struggling in the search and destroys, but you can't even look at this game alone and say that this is a team that's been struggling in the searches. Everybody is just on point.
No, 100%. Not sure what has been done in VOD review, or I don't know, this is just something that lines up well, but Kinky looking really hot right now. And well, you get a rollout here where Nile going to push on out to both side by himself as the rest of his teammates hit straight down zip. And well, there's going to be company at Big Door, but nothing in Spiral.
Right away, but Rush is going to try that first blood. Good follow-up by the rest of the team. 3 in a row for Annex. BenW, not with the bomb in hand, is going to make this very difficult to clutch. Has managed to at least maneuver your way up to top triple, but players are on the hunt, and there's only so many places you can hide. He's going to give himself away. Walks away with the kill at least, so maybe another one-on-one, and then you'd be thinking about if this can be a clutch or not.
I thought the shots were initially designed there to bait a player in, but he ends up not holding his irons for long enough. BenW here trying to find a way to wrap this, and well, Infinity is waiting. Ben will find one, so it turns into 1v2 shut down. Feels like if he slips away in that moment, then maybe there's an opportunity. The problem to get in Seymour, a lack of time to really execute on that for him. So Annex Esports get one on the board, and that feels like an important one. Just as the game looks like it's disappearing from you, you managed to drag it around onto the board, and in relatively convincing style. So for Annex, potentially a lifeline in this map too, one that they so desperately need after losing map 1.
I feel like you live and die by 2 big things on this map in general. Do you get to A and get that bomb down, or do you find that first blood just in general? And you know, right away, Kinky, you lose both of those, and that round just looks impossible after. So Annex looking to stay alive in the series. Can they bring this to a 1-round deficit, where first bloods has been something that this team has been successful for so far inside this game alone? CJP is going to be on the hunt. 1-6, needs to turn it around.
CJP trying to split this map in an unorthodox way.
If only he could see what we could see.
I was going to say, to be fair, if you do get through here, and Niall doesn't spot you, and he might get the timing, and that is insane.
CGP, literally a snake in cement. Bomb taken over towards B. They're going to have a free plant, and you just let CJP go rogue wherever you need to, but they don't go for the plant. And now there's time for Kinky to wrap this to P1. Do they get eyes on the bomb? They do not.
Masco trying to stay up. It's important that he does so the CJP can activate on the other side, and that's how that works out. CJP catches Twiz. Ben W, though, will make this a 1v1. Even things up. Can Ben find his opponent? No, shut down. So Annex get another one on the board. And I for all of it, the unusual ways in which CJP finds himself into the position that he does, if you're on that Kinky roster, you're suddenly like questioning a thing or two on the opening break off the rounds. Where did this team go? How on earth does CJP have the patience to crawl that far? But it delivers a telling blow. And to be honest, I'm not even sure if Annex actually find first blood. I think Kinky do there just beforehand, but Annex with a very creative way to split the map and the defensive hold and put themselves within one and with all the momentum.
Great man once said, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes to win that round. 1-6 going into it, walks away 4-6. So that's a big confidence booster out of CJP. Finding that kill into Niall really swings things in your favor now for Annex to see if you can put another round in a row, tie us up. Infinity draws first blood. And the bomb has made no leeway into this A site. Fibron is just testing the waters.
Feels like that first blood advantage, though, just given up far too easily yet again by Annex. 1v1.
Nice bomb down.
CJP there. Also, have you read behind you? Big gunfight. CJP with a big wrap and some great gunfights turns it into a 1v3 for Niall.
Oh my god, the timing. Oh my god, the timing. Hello, Rush. 26 seconds, CJP for 6 in a row. And he's been spotted. So, bomb in the hand of Niall. He can go for the plant. He can set up towards the back turret. And with a Jackal in your hand, that's not going to be an easy fight to win.
This bomb plan, CJP should be fully aware where Niall is going. Niall actually... Yeah. I don't think he does, no.
You use the ground here if you're CJP, the trees as well, but finally he's been spotted. The shot's in, and no way! CJP, 6 in a row, the hero for Annex. Just 2 rounds ago, you only had 1 kill to your name, and now you're the reason you're tied.
Well, it turns out if you're struggling, Seymour, you change up your opening first blood strats, you find a way to get a little bit creative with it. And off the back of that, the confidence that this man has right now, we saw him drop. We saw that drop that came in. He doesn't approach it from the helicopter side, recognizes using the Jackal against the names, and plays it to perfection to find Niall sat back. Lamar, not even all the way there either. Great work. 6 in a row. RCXD in hand. He's going to use it nice and early too.
I love it. Quick drop down right into the belly of the beast. Rush follows it up for the first blood into Ben W. And another one for Annex. That's 3 first bloods in a row in Infinity. He does one better. A second kill to give you a 4-2 advantage.
Fibron here, I was going to say, if you get in round the back, you could potentially set up some sort of collapse, but you won't find anything. And, well, it gets even worse when you shoot at your teammate. So, Annex going to be aware that you're coming, but it's a double hit that gets you a kill. And you also back down CJP. Nate, though, will do plenty of damage to you. 25 seconds realistically for Kinky to activate and do something here.
It's going to slow things down, but Fibron and Niall, they have teed up. 2v2, Rush, the first point of entry. CJP alongside him. 1 versus 2 now for Fibron, and he just has too much to get done. For a moment, you thought they had a chance, but that is 4 rounds in a row for Annex Esports off of the back of what has been a masterclass through First Bloods. And CJP just seizing this game by control. I mean, this is just lights out search now from the team. No hesitation.
We did ask for CJP to step up at 1-6. You didn't expect the way in which he would do it, though. 8 in a row has been some style to get
Usually
his
they
team.
don't listen.
No, they don't. It's called a curse for a reason, but CJP here has been fantastic. But it's all going to be a big push into this A site for Kinky. They have bomb. They should be able to get this down. It's about setting up for Annex. It's about retaking from different sites, different parts of the map, and then hitting together.
Rush from the flank. Infinity gonna drop down big door. Rasco gonna work alongside him. And CJP through spirals. So 28 seconds to get this one done. And Kinky from the inside out. Let's see if they can put this one away and send us to a round 11. So far, shots good. CJP has to back down. And Infinity just going to slide on the back of this trophy. Rasco with the first blood. Nile trades it. A back and forth affair, but they're on site. Annex now to put it away. All down to Rasco. He's got the pistol, but no. It comes down to a 1v1, but Kinky give us an 11th.
It was terrifying there for a moment. Felt like CJP staying alive as long as he didn't spiral, baiting 2 players in, just opened opportunities for everywhere else, and it felt like you got that call, CJP, and being pushed by 2. You should have the numbers advantage in this fight. They try and hit, but it doesn't happen. And Annex, they flounder for a moment. Kinky, finally, after losing 4 in a row, 1 on the board to send us to a round 11. Been superstars all over this. Storylines weaving in and out, but 1 must move on to victory. 1 must crumble. And for Annex, it's a big outside hit.
Last chance to tie the series. And it's Fibron for the first blood. Finally, Kinky gonna find an answer. Fibron in trouble, but he's got help, and it's just a blender setup. And Annex mixed into the middle of it. Around 11 flawless from Kinky puts them up 2-0 in this series. And you look at this man right here, Fibron. He delivers.
It's fancy, too. It's some beautiful work there at the end. We're going to get a quick look at the scoreboard. CJP will finish 9-8, but he went on an 8 streak in order to drag his team back into that tie, and some inspired stuff en route as well. But Kinky still come out on top, round 11. I can see you waving your hands, my friend. Is it just the disbelief at the way that actually ends, considering how much work Annex put to get into that? Or just that Kinky will move 2-0 in the series that feels like it could have easily been the other way around?
What about like a momentum-based search and destroy is what that is. You lose round 1, you win 4 in a row, you give up 4, and then you clutch up in the last one. Because of Fibron finding that first blood, everything just stays together in that round 11 as well. I mean, there was a chance there if you lose that first blood, you give up the A site, and then suddenly you're having to retake one of the hardest sites in Black Ops 6. Now that Volt is gone out of the equation.
Yeah.
But like, it just comes down to like, you had like 4 rounds in a row where you had no answers to first bloods. CJP just constantly on the defense, pushing into P2, looking to flank in towards Grandma's and set up a flank onto that A site take, or, even on offense, just rushing through the middle of the map or dropping down into the elevator shaft. He was always the first point of contact, and there was no answers for so long from that. So, I mean, for Annex to be able to show the Resolute to put that one away, and that they can stay in the lead, even giving up that many rounds in a row, that is going to be probably the dagger in the back that puts Annex down, because that could have gone so many different ways, even in game number 1, but you just haven't been able to find those big moments, those final last moments to clutch up and show some ice.
I mean, it's just, I go with you in the sense of, showing a bit of ice, showing a bit of, but also I will say as well, one of the things that I felt, Kinky responded well to, was that Annex had a range of different opening strategies. We'd seen things like CJP literally snail crawling. I think you called it a snake in cement through the middle of the map. And then on the opposite side of things, that last hit is all 4 flying straight down the boat side of the map and into the middle of the site. So for me, it's the fact that for Kinky, you end up doing a great job of just holding through various different strategies that come on out. It's wild looking again at this series and how it's playing out. 250, 200 in the hard point. We spoke about at the end of that. lot of different ways in which it could have actually been Annex's game. Map 2, I mean, I feel like we, Annex 6-4 up in the First Bloods multiple times, just not taking advantage of the fact that they had that First Blood multiple times, putting themselves in a situation where, how have you not managed to clutch that one out? I mean, one of the maps I'm going to, come back, one of the rounds, that we're going to come back to is how CJP activates for those two mid-map, does a great job of it, and Annex still put themselves in a spot where they have to clutch that round up. So often, in the small executable moments, doing a great job, but on moments where you're just trying to reposition, felt like that was where their rounds were starting to fall apart.
Yeah, it definitely seems like it feels like sometimes a one-man show on the side of Annex, whether it's Rush at the start with that 1v2 that they end up clutching up, or even look at CJP able to step up. You put it all together, though, it's heartbreaking to lose games like that, especially back to back. In game number 1, you were leading for so long, at least keeping it even, and in the turn of an eye, you are trailing by 40-50 points, and Annex just weren't able to truly break the setups that were being put together. And now leading into this control, not only are you tasked with a situation where you have to really step up and find some confident wins under your belt now, if you're Annex Esports, but you also have to reverse sweep this team, who has just nonstop had your numbers at the finish line, who've just been a step ahead of you this entire series. So I think that you're definitely feeling some pressure here if you're Annex Esports, but you've been to game 5s before so far. Why not do it again?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, game 5s as well. I mean, it's a weakness. We were talking about it earlier for this, I was going to say, Team Kinky lineup. They've lost 2 of them, so they don't want to see that. I think for Annex, it's about pushing themselves. They've had one where they beat out Team Lin. Reminder that if we do end up in a situation here where Kinky win and Team Lin lose, they would qualify. However, only if they don't win by 3-2, in which point it sets up a ridiculous head-to-head. Annex, they just need to win, and they are watching right now this series slip away from them, but we are into map 3. We are into the control, and we got to watch a control in the previous series, my friend, and, well, although we saw a fantastic attack round early on, it was very easily stunted here on Vault, and I think that that's the situation for both of these teams. For Kinky and Annex, it's been a tale for Annex of lack of seeing situations through when you should be in the ascendancy. If they do the same thing here, we could be seeing a 3-0.
And, I've said it in the past quite a multitude of different times, but as much as this is just like Protocol, a map where you can spawn trap if you're the defensive team, this is probably one of the only maps where the offensive team can actually spawn trap as well. So, like, if you go down 4, if you're Annex, you're going to probably be boxed out of this A zone. You go down 4 again, and then you're having to cross through no man's land to get over towards B. So, this is one of those maps that, in control, actually kind of has some favor towards the attacking team if you can slay out. So, you have to still be careful if you're Annex not to get too far ahead.
Annex here have done a great job. Burned down a lot of time, but first bit of progress coming on through for Kinky. I think that's one of the things as well. This map is very momentum-based. You can be struggling in the opening exchanges and then suddenly run through so much of the map, ring together various points, and you're seeing that right now. First 2 come through. Ben W finally falls, but Nile, an opportunity to see this off, wins the fight, and teammates come out on top as well. That should be a secured. 1:24 on the clock, and lives about even.
Goodness. Rasco gets some timing there. It's going to set up Rush, maybe, to find some exit kills, but a pistol from Twiz, putting 3 in a row, and reaching Ben W over towards this B zone. So, slow progress now in through the vault. You got CJP looking to find something of a break, and it will come off of the back of a triple kill out of Annex Esports.
Kinky trying to find a way then to break down this Annex Esports defensive hold, and they won't have seen CJP, I don't think. Although a couple of arrows turned in other ways, so maybe they did, and he will be found. Important kill, big fight here in Lights. Rush trying to push out, provide a buffer to his teammates, and, well, players continue to fall for Kinky, so they will be down for 2. Infinity's gonna get... Oh, no! That can't happen! Firebro and Ben W line up, get slammed, and, well, it looked like a potentially assailable position. A lot of it's just been undone right there.
And just like Danny Cod, you might be down, but your confidence is not out. So a couple extra shots there from Infinity as he gets that massive 2-piece to hopefully close out this defense. 3v7, 17 seconds. Yeah, CJP here. He's going to put some shots into the first one. Reads Fibron like a book. And that's going to be the round. 3 segments from the attacking squad. But like you said, that B zone, sometimes it eludes you. And it is a very different zone to take as well. So good from NX Esports to hold on to that defense.
I feel like this is going to be tough to watch back, by the way, for a couple of the Kinky players. I mean, yes, because you both die. Yes, because you get bullets in the body as well. But I feel like if you've won that fight there, you have an opportunity for 2 players to activate through water door. And you've actually managed to bully Annex quite far back. So you're in a situation, lives go relatively even. You have an opportunity to step on the point. Trophy comes out. I don't know. Real opportunity for Kinky to make that work. But, well, Annex will send them packing for now. And 3 ticks, relatively standard on the offense. Can Annex go a little bit better? The way it works out on Vault, we're all playing for that round 5 defense.
I know earlier on, this is kind of like taken away from the series that we're watching just here, but I said Notorious are a team that has been struggling, but gotta celebrate the fact that they won 22 elite matches in a row. 22 in a row.
Oh, yeah. Ridiculous team
that they've had all year in the elites. That is crazy. But
to be fair, sometimes when we say a team is struggling, we simply mean they look a bit more human, which for the Notorious,
they bleed.
Yeah, exactly. Which is not only a more exciting thing for a lot of us, but also for that Notorious team. I think it's also a bit of praise too, because it's a case of you had looked so impenetrable through the year. NW activates for 2 top cat here. Annex have bullied Kinky back considerable distance. Kinky are gonna have to take a second to ensure B's protected before they fly on this A site, and they're trying to set up that pinch. Twiz is gonna be particularly important to that, and he's found.
Yeah. He's going to be shut down on the flank, so all eyes forward now for the rest of Annex, but slow progress on the second tick. Finally, it's going to be locked as the kills continue to be blue in the feed. Fabron finally takes an angle, and he's going to get in, slips through, and helps Twiz to break this A zone and delay this 3rd segment from actually getting captured. Nice shots from Nile as Kinky are managing to hold on to this one.
Incredible, really felt like Annex had put themselves in a position that they should not have been struggling to see out A, but as it is, just the 2 ticks coming on through, so they're going to have to send this yet again. Everything's going to have to come at it. CJP trying to slip on through. He's looking to activate and give his teammates a way in. Numbers advantage handed on over. You're also on B, so a couple of these Kinky players are going to have to start to look to rotate, but they're trapped in for the fights over at A.
And here's the rush. B zone is all CJP right now. Still able to distract Ben W. Well, the rest of your team heads over towards the A side. 16 seconds to keep this one going. They've already eclipsed more segments, or at least equal to Kinky.
Lovely.
And now you want a little bit more. CJP for the slide out, but it's Twiz to walk away. 14 seconds, 9v6.
Twiz has done the Lord's work there, because you end up in a situation where you're 1 life up, your opponents have an extra minute added on. That could have been really difficult for you. Annex refusing to go away, but Nile activates. Can you find 3? Do you clean up the lights? Yes, you do. And tied up at 1-1 with 3 ticks each. I tell you what, though, this round considerably more frightening than the previous one. Felt like we got something a little bit more standard. Round 1. This time around, CJP does a great bit of work to give his team an out. Felt like we were about to see 2 ticks for Annex. That was it. That was their round done and dusted. Not the best offense. But his route through Vault, through water, onto B, just as Kinky was setting up over at A, just moved a couple of the pieces around, gave his teammates a relief, a bit of a alleviation of the pressure. And as such, they managed to get at least to even on the tick board. For Kinky then, what did you learn first time round? What will you apply this time? It looks like Nile, an instant B hit coming through, and Ben W's going to support this.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's a split at least, so a couple members through the vault. Looking to hit this one together. They give up mid-map control, and that's going to allow Annex a chance to flank this one extremely fast, and that's they do. CJP through the vault. He's underneath and in behind. And the help of Infinity, they're going to unwrap this entire setup. Ben W. nowhere to be seen. Fine CJP, but that's it.
Kinky then, I like what they did there. Spawn up and spread out. Try and get as much intel as you can. So that's a bit of a foundation. Sweep and clear. Drag that net across the map and make sure nothing slips through. And you find two. And Infinity's up next and he gets picked off. So CJP, if you fall here, all four dead. And Kinky then, with an opportunity to spring on forward. Twiz is already into Art. He's considering bouncing back, but actually he's just going to watch the cross. And for now, Annex, they need to find a way to fight on out. They do get a couple of bodies through. At least they will contest. But that was a terrifying moment for them.
Double progress at A and B. Ben W gonna have to be taken care of, but he's gonna take matters into his own hands. Slides out. Now the double stack. Twiz finding the players off spawn, making it impossible to get to the zone. B gets captured first, and it's falling apart for Annex.
Kinky will have an opportunity then to see this off right here on the point. Make that 5 ticks of progress. They need just one more, and the numbers are going to continue to arrive. Gotta be careful of that cat push, though, coming in through. Ben W will find one, and, well, will be found by Rasco. And that is what Annex needed, as Infinity finds two. Sends a lot of these players deeper into their spawn. You are going to push out poolside, but you're going to be bottlenecked, and Annex needs to mop this up.
A little bit of a journey to get over towards A now, as Rush cutting you down. 15v14. CJP gonna reslide out, feed the information to the rest of your squad that a couple players have found their way to this A zone, but instead he doubles back, goes around, and still wins the fight versus CJ or Ben W. Rest your team to follow up, and Kinky have to go back to the drawing board to see how they're gonna approach A.
I think the one thing Kinky needs to not do here is panic, and I like what we're seeing out of Twiz here. He's trying to set up a flank. Look at his teammates slow down so that he can do this. Activates, and that'll let his teammates in through the front. Swarm it from all sides. You just need to get bodies on and settle for a moment, and look at it fly.
The stack. CJP, can he touch? He gets through. CJP, no! It's Nile on top of it all. And a momentous effort coming out from the rest of Annex to just hold on to that last segment at A. But with so much time, you said it, you just had to not panic. They do the right thing. They wait for Twiz to make that flanking play, and they hit it all at the same time. A well-oiled machine is this Kinky squad when they get going. And I think in this moment now, they have truly found form here in the Elite when they need it most.
This is when you can see why they pushed Team Lin to that Game 5, why they pushed Jump Shot France to that Game 5, why this could be a very different Elite story for them. They could already be qualified. Moments like that, and we will come back to it in the debrief. But for now, Annex to try and push this one deeper, as they desperately need. Otherwise, this is their tournament done, and all four die. And the nail in the coffin for Infinity, as well as a Semtex that sticks to you. So nothing going Annex's way, and look how far pushed up Kinky are. Their net is set. Their line is drawn. How do Annex push forward? Well, those 2 kills will help massively.
Whizzing behind. Now on screen, Fibron. See if you can get off some of the rotations over towards the B zone, but instead you just tee up the rest of your team to knock down those dominoes. 48 seconds. Andy and Kinky are looking to 3-0 sweep their way into a potential 4th seed spot for the playoffs.
Annex trying to activate. Fibron finds 2 though, and you know that the rest are going to be around the point somewhere. You do fall, but teammates will be able to arrive to fight for this. 2 lives up, 30 seconds on the clock, and well, Annex are doing a fine job. They will get that first tick of progress to come on through. So for Kinky, it's about how you set up to retake this without doing what Annex did before and overextending.
Yeah. And maybe even stack the zone. You're giving so much time for Kinky to adapt to this play. And Nile on the flank doing just that. Second segment's going to be stopped and neutralized as well, slowly. But Nile blocking those spawns, forcing them all the way over towards P2. And it's just cutting down the numbers over at this zone. Infinity's going to be on. He's working on the 3rd take. They need this captured. They need it now.
Kinky just got to temper themselves here. I honestly agree with the decision for Ben W to stay outside. Nile sets up an art. One of those moments you get those 2 kills wrong and Annex can explode on over towards B. But what they might miss is CJP, who activates through solo. He's going to get himself into P4, so he can watch a bit of a cross. Fibron is on the chase, but CJP is doing the work. He's into art, and a real thorn in the side right now to this setup.
Oh no, you've lost a player top art too, so This is it. Annex, they found their way on towards the B zone, and they're looking to snowball this round. First segment in, second one being worked on, only a double stack, so it's going relatively slow. Forced away our annexes. They're looking to slay out a little bit before going back into it, and CJP, he is on the run again.
I think he's been seen, though, because Twiz is doubling back for this. Has he read it? He does, indeed. Important kill. Although Infinity will be there for the trade out. CJP just doing a wonderful job of being a constant thorn, not allowing Kinky to get comfortable there in the deep back. But Fibron being pushed up in trophy will be doing the exact same thing to Annex. So it's about clearing that player out before you can push forward. For now, Annex setting up in mid, and that first kill will give them numbers advantage to try and potentially draw Fibron back in, or at least flood this point.
You gotta be careful. Crossfire from your own spawn, and Nile up top. Ben W from P3. He's gonna slide Shell in, and that is a 3-for-2 trade. 2 lives left for Annex to stay alive in the elites, to stay alive for your chances at playoffs, and Kinky have denied it. 3-1 in the control, 3-0 in the series. A statement at the end of your run, and a chance given now to see tomorrow.
We're going to get a quick look at the scoreboard here at the end. Not too many people standing out, but I think we can call it back to individual moments instead. CJP in particular had himself a couple of impactful moments through various different rounds, but I think a lot of it is going to come back to that play from Twiz. I think that that's the moment that differentiates everything there. He does so much to allow, you know, Kinky to chain that A and B together, and that wave of kills that they get as well, just in that transition moment. I think that that final round, for example, there's a moment right at the end where, you know, Annex, they have 15 seconds left of time. They have 4 on that A site. They're trying to desperately capture it. And it is very tempting. You and me have been there in ranked play. It's very tempting to throw everything at that point, try and clear it and see off those end seconds of time. The problem there, and we see it so often in control rounds, is if all 4 of you die, we've just handed the other team a minute, a lot of the lives, and then an instant transition on over to B. Yeah. So I love the decisions that are made there to back off. They just, you know, Ben W waits at Lion, Nile sets himself up in Art, and it just gives you a moment to go, okay, not a problem. We can give that one up and just breathe. That's not win condition for us. And some really heads up decision making, some really veteran plays coming on through that see them 3-0 victors. And we wait on other results, but unless Team Lin beat Jump Shot France, that should see them through.
Yeah, I mean, even at the end there, you had good mid control if you're Annex. Never once did they think to clear out their own spawns. I mean, for a whole like 30, 40 seconds, Fibron was over towards gold. Ben W was at P3, and, you know, locking down that B zone or B lane just in general is makes it easy for, as soon as you push out from Vault or you try to get control of Art, you don't truly have control of that street in general. So it's hard to actually hop onto that zone and fully stack it for your team. I think there's a lot you can look back through in this entire series and kind of nitpick on both sides. I think that one thing that was really shown is the experience just blow up and pop off in those last minute plays from players like Twiz and Fabron and, you know, even Ben W at times. They were putting it together in this series, and albeit it's been a pretty poor elite from them in terms of the group stage, but at this moment, when you had the chance for the permutations to actually walk away with that 4th seed, you've set yourself up in every way you can to be that 4th seed. So you look at these players who may have been working on things from last week going to this week. It's a job well done. They get it done. And I'm very impressed with the way that they were handling this throughout each map. When they really stepped up, they looked like they were the better team, just through and through.
No, I fully agree. And you know, we are surprised about the situation that they put themselves in. They are going to have a difficult seed for playoffs without a shadow of a doubt. But I think we have been reminded of the quality that's in this roster and why we're surprised that they're in the position that they're in. And, you know, you're right. In important moments, in moments that mattered, it felt like that they figured out exactly what they needed to do. You know, that play at the end of round 3 in the control. A lot of your players, if you are Kinky, you just wait kind of at the front door. You're like, you know, Twiz has called out, I'm going on a flank. I'm going to hit a route here. Wait for me to do it. And you know, instead of, again, panicking your lives away and pushing that point as a 1 and just trying to, you know, you've already taken B. You've just got 1 segment left of A. It's easy. Again, you and me have been there. So many people in chat will have been there where you're like, you know what? We just need a kill or 2. I can make myself look a little bit good here and see this round off. We've seen it happen at challengers levels. We've seen it happen at the pro level. A couple of players get overexcited, over-exuberant. But that moment there from Twiz, just hitting this flank, just hold for me for a second, and you see a couple of players, they kind of set up their angles in lights. They wait. The second Twiz activates, they know that those Annex players are going to turn their heads. They're going to be number disadvantaged, and they sweep the point completely. So moments like that is what's going to see them through what will likely be a very tough start to playoff bracket life. They're probably looking across to the other side at a mistaken esports seed 1 that you're going to be up against, if I'm reading that bracket correctly. But we'll wait for all that to be confirmed. But it's going to be, a tough start there. But there's no reason to sit there and not think that this team can pull it off with the quality that they have.
Well, as we kind of wind down to Europe, games are finishing just across the board in general. Mistaken Esports are going to be the number 1 seed coming out of that Group A. Notorious 2, Magpies 3, Project 7 4. So Group A is done. It's solidified. Tug Esports and Team Pulsar are going to be eliminated from our Stage 3. For Group B, things definitely still up in the air. I would believe that Team Orchid are going to be the team to walk out as that first seed. Katana also winning their series respectively with this win out of Kinky, and Team Lin losing to Jump Shot France. This should be Kinky solidifying their 4th seed as well. But again, I mean, you look at Team Lin, and they are still a team that has that potential to come back in series with 2 Game 5s being played, one against this Annex team. But for Annex, I mean, for Kinky, this is the start of what is going to be an exceptionally long rest of your playoffs.
No, yeah, 100%. I don't envy the you're gonna have to come out warm. Let's put it that way. You're gonna have to come out feeling pretty hot, ready to go. You can't have the slow starts like you had in your groups, starting off 0-4 and somehow qualifying. That's an impressive feat by any sense. Just kind of taking a look through the rest of things ongoing. Of course, other games going on right now. Over on mainstream, you are going to have Jump Shot France against Lin. That is the game that really matters when it comes to this. If Team Lin lose, and that should get Kinky on through, they should be guaranteed qualification. But of course, if Lin come out on top there, then Kinky will be, they will not be seeing playoffs. But I'm trying to... have you got a score update for us, my friend? I know you're doing a lot of looking around right now. I'm
trying to.
Yeah,
I'm working on it.
Yeah,
but
I feel like I'm.
It looks like it's 1-1 tied. So okay. Team Lin were able to tie the search and destroy. So just all in all, if you want to know the outcome of Group B, look at the mainstream.
I don't know.
It's as simple as if Jump Shot France win, Kinky are the 4th seed. If not, then we will be talking about, what is going to be going on for the rest of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I tell you what, for today, for you and me, that, though, is going to be everything. Thank you very much, my friend, for jumping on. I know I dropped you a last-second message and was kind of like, yo, can you make it? I would really appreciate it if you could get on. We don't get many opportunities to do things together, so it has been a pleasure. Some European challengers come on through. You've done a lot of work in the challenger space. What I will say, of course, as well, if there's anything that you want to say in your final words here, but where can people find you as well? Because there's a little nameplate that comes on through, but it turns out that
I didn't get one of those.
But they're not editable. So I was like, I can't put Dandro Cast under your name. So we got a couple of things to work on over here as we've tried to pull this whole show together. But where can people find you, and how have you found your European elite, my friend?
I'm glad you didn't, because I'm not as handsome as Dandro. I wouldn't even pale in comparison. But you can find me at Seymour Cass, as simple as Dandro's, except a little bit changed to have my name instead on Twitter. Other than that, right now we're working on some big things over in the community stream, especially with the end of the elite stage coming through, and for challengers in the future, potentially some more content to be looking at through that. That's going to be happening right now, even at twitch.tv/Major Chafing, and later on twitch.tv/InfinityBL for North America. Other than that, no, I'm just happy to be around and be seeing European challengers in general thrive. With the end of the stage, I am excited to hopefully see some new elite winners. I'm tired of seeing Notorious win everything. I'm tired of seeing Omit Brooklyn win everything. I want some new winners to be going into the Major 3 Open with that number 1 seed, Andy. And I couldn't be more excited to see how this epic conclusion is going to be for our final stage of challengers this year.
Yeah, I mean, Challengers is never dull. It's something that has blessed us with many storyline over the years, and I'm sure we've got a few more up our sleeves before the season is done for sure. And also, just to mention, we will, of course, be on later for some North America. Dandro will be back in, but you, my friend, I believe, are joining me tomorrow for a big run of games, European and North American. So, always looking forward to that. Very much so. Thank you again for getting on today. You have done me a huge solid. So yeah, those of you in chat, thank you for tuning in. I can see a whole bunch of you did subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate that. A bunch of you were watching as well. Viewership went up from last week, which is incredible. But of course, my apologies for the issues that were coming on through at first. I've never done a YouTube stream before, and also have never imported a scene into OBS. Newsflash for you, PSA, it breaks everything, so don't do it. Find a different way of managing to get your stuff into OBS. But anyway,
It's harder than it looks.
it is so much harder than it looks. To be fair, like I usually do quite a lot of this stuff, like pushing the buttons and everything. That's not a problem, and setting it up. But like I imported this thing, and I was like, oh my god, like what has happened here? Like people saying that this was
So what
a
you're
thing.
saying is you had a child, and now you're not only unk, but you're washed too.
Actually, what I was trying to do is blame Dandro, but if you want to go down that route, then that's totally fine, my friend. Anyway, I'm gonna be getting off. This has been Enigma. This has been Seymour. We'll see you guys in about an hour. Me and Dandro will be doing some North America, and Seymour, of course, will be back on with me tomorrow. Until then, guys, take care. See you on the other side. Thank you for the love.